right, welcome back everybody to another edition of Forgotten First. This is the video series I like to do where I'm covering those forgotten about first appearances or ignored first appearances in some cases now, as I'm going to have a somewhat recent book on the list this week. And I can't say it's forgotten because it's only a couple of months old, but I will say it was probably mostly ignored by most people. So forgotten, ignored, old spec, new spec, just first appearances of characters that maybe nobody cared about months ago that now they might be interested in, or maybe just forgotten about. Just first appearances. That's all we're talking about here. There's tons of first appearances with all the characters that are out there. Think of how many first appearances there actually are. So we got plenty of content to do running this show going forward. And hopefully you're liking the content here on the channel. If you are, please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss any of it, and comment. Let me know what you think. Even if you don't like it, let me know what you think. If you decide you want to throw a thumbs down, hit me up with a comment. Tell me why so I can see what I can do to maybe change your mind or make an improvement to make you enjoy what I'm doing. So that being said, comment, let me know what you're thinking, make some suggestions, let me know what characters you guys might want to see. Well, I got a huge list. I am always open to taking suggestions, as you will see in this video in particular, as I got a couple that kind of came from recommendations or suggestions or just general chit chat. So I take inspiration from wherever I can get it. Now, that being said, hang on for 1 second. We'll be right back with the first appearances for this week. All right, so with the first book that I want to talk about this week, this one actually spins out of a conversation I was having with some of the CBSI writers, and in particular, Van Denby had pointed out that a particular book was selling pretty well recently, and we were just all speculating as to why people all of a sudden were looking at Mr. Fixit, Joe Fixit, why this Wolverine #8 was starting to get like $50 raw. I don't know. I haven't heard any news about Gray Hulk or Mr. Fixit coming, but who knows? It's possible. But why this book? It's a classic cover, to be sure. I do enjoy and love this blue. It pops. I love the twins aspect of this, because this is what it reminds me. It reminds me of Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito with Logan and Hulk here. That's the first thing I think of when I look at this. I think twins, and I think that's great. But why is this book selling for so much? I don't know. But it got me also thinking, like, well, it's not like it's his first appearance, though. Like, this isn't first, Mr. Fixit, Joe Fixit, whatever you want to call him. This version of the Hulk, it's not even in his Wolverine series. I mean, he was in the issue before, in issue 7. So it's not even that either. If you want his actual first appearance, which is, again, what I think people have just kind of forgotten about, while this book spiked a while back, it's been a while, and prices are a little bit soft right now, and that's Incredible Hulk 347. This is the first appearance of Joe Fixit, if you were so inclined to look for it. So just keep that in mind when you're out there shopping. It's not a Wolverine book. It's Incredible Hulk 347. Now, what do we got going on with this book? And why is this one, one that you want? I mean, it is a cool version of the character. Hulk has had many versions over the years, and, we're probably move on to something else following Immortal Hulk. But I don't know. Just fun, definitely fun stuff, and definitely a cool character. But if you're looking, let's see what we got going on for this thing. Released in September of 1988. I can't get you a print run because, again, we start going pre-2000s. The information gets pretty sparse as far as, hitting up Comic-Con or whatever to get print run estimates for you. So who knows? There are probably plenty of copies out there. Hulk was a popular character for a while. Maybe not the most popular character, but definitely one that had a following, especially on the McFarlane's run. I think I see plenty of those out there, so I think he did pretty well while drawing the book. And this is kind of in that range of issues, like in that time frame. So just saying. Now, with that, if you want a copy, you look online. Here's just a couple of options you can see. There's an auction starting at $10, but if you want to buy right now, $25, or another buy it now, $15. So this is something you can get, again, $10 to $20 still, like right now, for the first appearance of Joe Fixit, if that's what you're looking for. It was higher not that long ago. I remember when this was $40 not that long ago, when you were digging it out of dollar boxes. But now I guess a lot of copies are out of dollar boxes. But if you're interested, maybe you could find it for 10. Could be an interesting pickup for $10. Just saying. But let's see what it's selling for. Can you get it for cheaper than 10? Yeah, you probably can, because there are copies out there. Look, auction, 2 bids, $2.75. 12 bids on another one, though, 1750. It all has to do with timing. Definitely timing on when these things are selling and moving. I don't know what it is about Sunday auctions, but 1750 for a Sunday auction. That other one ended Monday, July 26th, 275. So you do the math on when you end your auctions on how well you'll get a return on your book. Just saying. But maybe you find this in a dollar bin. If you're lucky, keep an eye out for it. So 347 is definitely one to look for. Now, what else do we want to look at? That was one. Again, it wasn't really a recommendation. It was just kind of a conversation that got me thinking. And the conversation was over here. And I'm like, well, what about the first appearance? So that's where I went with the Hulk there. The next one was thrown out of a conversation I had on Instagram with E-Man Tony, who just made a suggestion to me. He just asked me a question about this, what I thought about this book. And I wasn't reading Miles at the time, so I didn't know much about it. So off of what he told me, I thought it was interesting. And if you watch my dollar bin digging finds video, you see I picked up the run based on that conversation with him because I found it interesting. So I paid cover plus 50 cents on a couple of those. Basically cover price. I paid cover price for those books. So these aren't expensive. These are still out there. But we're talking about the Clone Saga in the current run on Miles Morales Spider-Man. In this most recent issue, which just came out this past week, issue 28, there was a little bit of not a reveal, but as the storyline concludes and wraps up, one of the characters lasts and is going to be sticking around for a while. So this version of Miles, I think he went by the name of Shift. He's going to be sticking around. And here we have, Miles is talking about, I got a new brother. So he is a clone of Miles. He's calling him brother. Who knows how long he's going to stick around for. But for right now, he looks like he's sticking as a character. While a couple of the other clone versions, I think, didn't make it out of this storyline. But 28's not the first. This is just the book that just recently came out and is the cause for this kind of speculation on what we might see out of Shift going forward. The first appearance of Shift was in 25, which was only a couple of months ago. I mean, this just came out in April, I think. And in that book, we get introduced to a couple of clones of Miles, all with like a different power. Like they kind of like only really running like with one power of Miles. Shift's kind of like a morphing kind of thing, and you got a more spider-looking creature. Definitely a few different versions that he had to contend with, and all not with good intentions. And like I said, they didn't all make it out, but Shift did. And this was the issue that they first appeared, 25. And like I said, this came out in April 2021, which is this current year, just a couple of months ago. And given that we are in this current situation that we're still in, there aren't print runs really being provided lately. So I don't know if you've noticed that or have tried to look, but yeah, the last year or two, you can't get print run numbers. So like it's the pre-90s, I have no idea on this one, even though it's that recent. No idea on the print run of this book. But make your guesses. Like I said, this is still probably recent cover issue. Maybe you can find it in a cheap box. Maybe it's a half cover because it's a couple of months old, overstock at your LCS. If you're interested, that's where you can go scoop up this 25, which I think has a couple of covers as well. As you know, Marvel, they can't just have one cover on books. They have to have a few. But definitely an interesting book to me. And like I said, I'm not going to give you prices on this and sold prices because, like I said, it's basically cover. So there you go. But our next book, another book that I picked up in the Dollar Bin Digging Finds video. I found it for $1, but keep an eye out for it. And this is DC, old DC spec. Just can't really even call it spec. I mean, the character's been around for a while, and the character that we're talking about here is the first appearance of John Diggle in the DC comic universe. He was a big character on Arrow for years, and even with that show ending and him getting a Green Lantern ring on the end of it, he's still sticking around in that Legends of Tomorrow, Flash, still CW TV universe. Now, apparently, I don't think he's keeping the ring. I think he turned down the Green Lantern ring, but he's still going to be sticking around on, I don't know, maybe Legends or perhaps Flash. I think he's going to be bouncing around on those CW shows still, even though Arrow is off the air. So Diggle is still a character that's going strong, on the TV, CW version shows, if you still enjoy those. I couldn't keep up, so I haven't watched any of them in a while. But one of these days, I'll get back to it and check them out on Hulu or HBO Max or whatever and catch up, on a day where I'm just homesick or something and just binge a show, binge seasons of Flash or whatever. But that being said, this character in the DC universe, he appeared here in, what year was this? This was in October 2013. And since this is in that sweet spot, I can get you a print run. And it was like 24,000, just under 25,000 on this one. So not huge, but not small. Decent amount of copies. New 52, Green Lantern, Green Arrow 24. You can get the first appearance of Diggle. So keep an eye out for it. Plus, this is a cool cover. I dig this cover. So hopefully this image is ingrained in your memory when you're digging through a box. And when you see this for $1, you scoop this up because it is worth it. And here, we're about to show you why. Right now, I mean, it's not a huge book or anything, but $13, $26, that's kind of asking prices for this thing. Still, even now, it still has a bit of interest, and people will have, ask a few bucks for it. Now, what are you actually going to pay if you're going to be buying one? Yeah, you can still get that. $13, one sold for. So, yeah, there you go. It's in that, like, $10 to $20 range is something you can actually get, depending on timing and the condition of the copy you're looking at. That's the book you can find yourself paying, something like that, if you were to buy one online. But like I said, dig in those boxes. They're still out there. 25,000 copies thereabouts. They could still be out there. New 52 runs are all but forgotten about, in most shops, and just not a lot of people are going to go digging in the Green Arrow run. There's not a lot of books to dig out of the Green Arrow run, but this is definitely one of them to look for, to be sure. So if you hit New 52 Green Arrow, 24 is the one you're going to want to look for, I would say, at least. But, that being said, keep an eye out for that one if you're digging. But moving on to our next book, this is just an old one as well. I just figured, you know what? I mean, the Hulk thing got me thinking about the books people buy, but what book is actually the first appearance? Just that misconception. And you can have all those cameo versus first full arguments and all that. I get it. The first cover is going to win out 9 times out of 10. And that is the case here with X Factor 24, with Archangel there on front and center on the cover. Pretty cool cover. And, Fall of the Mutants, Apocalypse, Horseman of Death for Apocalypse. Definitely cool storyline. At least it was for me back in that time frame of the 80s and 90s. But this is still not his first, though. His first was the issue before. Issue 23 is the first time we saw Death. He might not have been named Archangel, but he was Death. It was the character. It was him. And he was on a couple of pages in a bunch of panels. So, I don't know, full cameo, whatever you want to call it. 23 was the book he first appeared in. So that's all I'm saying. And here's an example right here. I mean, that's clearly Archangel flying in. Yes, he has the mask on, because he's Death. He's the character of Death in Apocalypse's Horseman, but still, that's him. So it is what it is. He's going by Death because that's his role, in the story at that point. But so 23 is really his first. And that was December 1987. Print run again. I can't get that for you because it's the 80s, but you could imagine it's pretty high. You could find this book in dollar bins occasionally. Granted, many of them are beat because X Factor, there's plenty of X Factor books in those dollar bins. And I go digging through them all the time. And I always go digging looking for these as 23, 24, 25 to get that run. And, there's a few that you want to dig out. But just want to keep in mind. Because, again, everybody wants 24, but I think a lot of people just forget that 23 is really where he appeared first. And what are the asking prices on this thing? Pretty cheap. Look at that, $5.56. You can buy it now. Auction starting at 99 cents. There's an auction going currently at $15.50. So could be anywhere from like $1 to $20, I guess, would be a fair assessment. But condition sensitive, obviously, and just get the copy. There's plenty of them to be had. So if you just want a copy, you can get one for a decent price pretty easily. Not hard to get. And when you look at what's actually selling, it's kind of the same story. Best offer on $9. Best offer. Oh no, looks like they just paid 15 straight up. And then there's another one that's $25, one bid that gets you 23 and 24. So you cover your bases that way and get both books. Because I still dig 24. Don't get me wrong. I like the cover. All I'm trying to say is we're talking about firsts. He first appears in 23. That's all. So that's all I'm saying. And just something to keep in mind when you're out there digging in those boxes. Look for stuff like that in those cheap boxes. Because for the most part, I'm still trying to talk about cheap books and cheap first appearances. But I will throw the occasional more expensive one out there. But today, we're still on the cheap. So these are the 4 books that I'm saying are forgotten about or ignored, as is the case with issue 25 of Miles Morales there. So check these books out if you're interested in any of these characters. Their first appearances to be had. And yeah. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for stopping by. Once again, hopefully you're enjoying the content that I'm providing. If you are, please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you're not missing anything. Tell a friend. Let's continue to get that subscriber count up. I just finished my giveaway for 800 subscribers, and I'll be mailing out those books this week to the winners. And it looks like we're already pretty close to 900. So even though we're only like a week or so since my last giveaway of hitting 800. We're at 870, my last check. So we're pretty close to 900. So it looks like I'll be giving away something else pretty soon. So make sure you are a part of that so you don't miss out on some fun books and some good stuff. Again, hopefully you're enjoying it. I'm having fun. Hopefully you're having fun. And I will see you guys next time.